Welcome back to NC State Dendrology. I'm coming to you today in mid-March from Fort Macon State Park, which is in Carteret County in North Carolina on the coast. And I'm on the Elliott Coues Trail, which is this wonderful trail that's through maritime forests. It's a great time to be here because it is not buggy. And I am with this spectacular example of this tree. This is common name prickly ash Hercules-club toothache tree. So lots of interesting common names. And the scientific name is Zanthoxylem clava-herculis. And this is, and Zanthoxylem starts with a Z, not an X, but there is also an X in it. So this wonderful tree is really distinctive, right, by its incredible bark. So the tree is not leafed out yet. But let's talk a little bit about this tree. So one of the common names is prickly ash. And that owes to the fact that if you're here in this maritime forest, I'm on the backside of the island where it's protected, and we have a developed, fairly developed, but a little bit beat up canopy from the hurricanes that are frequent here. And this tree, prickly ash, comes from the name that it does look a little bit like an ash tree because it has compound leaves that are serrate, and also the leaflets are kind of lanceolate. So I'm describing them because it's mid-March and the tree is not leafed out yet. And so if you see a tree that looks a little bit like an ash tree, of course it is alternate, it is not opposite. But the twigs also have little thorns on it. So the small branches are covered in thorns, and then they develop into these really spectacular big points on the trunk. So it's a really easy tree to identify, but pretty interesting because although it's frequent, it's found in all of our coastal counties in North Carolina in these sandy maritime type habitats, but it is not a very common plant. So it's not one that you see all the time. And so I always get excited when I find one. And so it's really noted for this toothache tree. There's this idea of the doctrine of signatures, which is a European idea talking about how trees and plants have clues that tell us how we should use them. But this was also frequent. This is not a concept owned by Europeans. Native Americans called this toothache tree and used the thorns as an antiseptic for toothaches. So that was a very frequent use of this toothache tree. And so it's this idea that the tree has visual clues that tell us how we should use it. So this is Zanthoxylem clava-herculis, right? So clava-herculis is hyphenated. And it's just a really wonderful and unique native tree that's found in these sandy coastal plain maritime forest environments. And this is NC State Dendrology.